Good morning. I call to order this Pinellas County School Board meeting Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. We will begin the meeting this morning with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Chair Caprice Edmond and the National Anthem. The colors this morning are being presented by Hollins High School's Army JROTC unit under the instruction of Lieutenant Colonel James Collins and Command Sergeant Major Edwin Rivera. The anthem will be performed this morning by Boca Ciega High School's vocal ensemble under the direction of Alex Drucker. Please stand and remain standing until the completion of the national anthem.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang theirs bursting in, they proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Order, arm, right, eight, forward, arm. Oh, word, arm.
Please be seated. Boca Ciega High School's vocal ensemble will perform a second piece. Mr. Drucker, would you please introduce that second piece for us?
Yes, good morning. Our second piece today is going to be La Musique by Alexis Neenan. It is half in English and half in French.
La musique relie tout le monde, la musique relie tout le monde, la musique relie tout le monde, la musique relie tout le monde. I've come to see we have a choice to learn and grow and lift our voice and travel far to distant lands, so we can start to understand that there is more that connects us than divides. Things we share, like the music inside. La musique relie tout le monde. La musique relie tout le monde. La musique relie tout le monde. Ah, je t'aime,
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Well done. Next, we'll have a video where students plan lunch menus. This is a lot of fun. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Excited to try some food. It's called the Pinellas County Schools Lunch Lab. And we have students coming in from some area elementary schools and middle schools to taste test food to decide whether it's going to go on the school menu.
Making our own recipe for our special sauce, Eatin' Good sauce. We're gonna give you guys ingredients with the recipe card on your table. 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Once again, it's not measured, so it's up to you, chef, to make it right.
Students need to know, A, where does their food come from? How is it prepared? How can they play a part in that? Right now what we're doing, we're in the first part of the program today at Eaton Marketing. This is the educational portion. Chef Chris from Eaton Marketing walked the students through how to create a recipe.
I liked that I learned to make sauce today. It was really good, and I might try it at home, so my mom. That's good.
When they are done taste testing here, something that they actually just had a part in cooking, then we're going to have them go into the area where we have about 20 vendors set up, and there are 33 items that they are going to be taste testing. So this scorecard that the students are all receiving and that they'll fill out as they go through the taste testing, we are going to hand tabulate these onto a spreadsheet. All of our 5s will be items that we are definitely going to be choosing for our school lunch menu.
It was fun because I got to go around and try a lot of food.
My favorite food was probably the chicken knees because it had the chicken and I like chicken.
I can't wait to see these kids next year when they go in their lunch line and they're able to say, I helped pick that out.
I don't know about you all, but it seems whenever I visit an elementary school or middle school and you're talking to the students, the first thing they bring up is lunch. When I say, what can we do better? What would you like? They say lunch. And so I love that. I love that we engaged the students in that experience. The next item on our agenda, introduction of professional and community organization representatives, Isabel Mascarenas, our public affairs officer.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Hendrick, and staff. It is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. From the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, Lee Bryant, President. From the Pinellas County Council of PTAs, Reagan Miller. Representing the North Pinellas League of Women Voters, Nancy Cohen, Jennifer Cedillo, and Tanya Landley. From the Pinellas Arts for a Complete Education, Hennessy Weller. Members of the media in attendance, Nancy Guan from WUSF. Today, we have a presentation from the Student Rights and Responsibility Committee. Please welcome students Josiah Walker and Anaya Sconiers from Boca Ciega High School and their principal, Jennifer Gill.
Josiah and Anaya, good morning. Welcome.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Hendrick, and staff. It's our pleasure to present the Students' Rights and Responsibilities Committee report for the Boca Ciega High School. My name is Josiah, and I'm a senior in the Fundamental Program. My time in the Fundamental Program has been a process of learning when and where to apply my strengths through my classes, clubs, and extracurriculars. With the support of teachers and faculty alike, I was able to maintain consistent grades, but more importantly, feel as if my time spent working in my classes made a tangible impact on my future. This is seen in my acquisition of the Sir Mac J. Williams Award, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Award, and the Anne Frank Humanitarian Award. That's not all, however, as the Fundamental Program also allowed support as I began Boca Ciega's first FBLA chapter in years. This allows students to explore opportunities and passions in avenues they weren't able to explore previously. And standing here next to me is my fellow pirate Anaya, and I'll allow her to introduce herself as well.
Hi, my name is Anaya Sconyers, and I am a senior in the Center for Wellness and Medical Professions. Since my freshman year, I've been a part of the Center for Wellness and Medical Professions, where I've gained invaluable knowledge about the medical field. Through this program, I have had the incredible opportunity to complete 2 internships, including one at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, an opportunity my school helped me discover. Bogosiega High School has truly felt like home, not just because of my academics, but because of my deep involvement both in and out of school. From wrestling for 3 years to serving as senior class president and the vice president of the National Honor Society, my experiences here have shaped me into a leader. Bogosiega High School has taught me what it truly means to lead, succeed, and I'm forever grateful for that. Bogosiega High School is a wall-to-wall academy model school, which means that each student belongs to a small learning community. Each academy offers opportunities for industry certifications and college credit. Students at Bogosiega High School reap the benefit of having a full-time college and career coordinator who supports students like me in pursuing their post-secondary educational goals. Thank you for providing this as a resource to us. We are an AVID national demonstration site, which means that we are a center for teaching and learning, and students are supported by the AVID system school-wide.
Last year, our AVID 4 students received over $4.4 million in scholarship money, and the 2025 AVID senior class is working hard to beat that. Currently, more than 43% of our seniors have completed the FAFSA, and we came in 5th place out of 17 high schools for the highest number of Pinellas Education Foundation scholarships applications submitted. Earlier this year, SBC recognized over 150 pirates for their academic achievement at the Dr. Fernandez Zalupski Hispanic and Mac J. Williams Black Student Achievement ceremonies. Last month, 24 pirates were recognized for their academic achievement at the Pinellas County School Verrill Davis Award ceremony, with senior Samaya Thompson being the recipient of the Verrill Davis Award Family Scholarship. And at this year's Dr. MLK Jr. Award breakfast, 9 pirates received the Ralph Young Scholarship, and senior Kamaya was a recipient of the National Council for Negro Women Scholarship as well. Freshman Kennedy Smith was recognized at the USF Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Award ceremony for academic excellence and service to the community. And the Bogosiega was recognized by the College Board for Diversity of Women in AP Computer Science principals as well. Pirates are excelling in extracurriculars, as you can see here, but let's talk sports. Rookie varsity football coach Calvin Smart was named Class 3A Coach of the Year and guided our Pirates all the way to the regional finals this year. The furthest Bogosiega has made it in 20 years. Our Lady Volleyball Pirates reached the Sweet 16 semifinals, and 4 of them were selected to play in the Pinellas County All-Star Game, with senior Melania Mallory being named as the game's MVP. Their coach, Lauren Iavino, was named the Class 4A Volleyball Coach of the Year as well. For bowling news, McKenna McPherson made school history by securing a spot on the All-County PCAC first team, while 3 senior bowlers were invited to the All-Star match at Liberty Lanes. Girls wrestling, Girls wrestling had a very successful run. They were district PCAC champions for the 3rd year in a row. 2 of our Lady Pirate wrestlers went on to compete in the state wrestling championship. And boys basketball made it all the way to the quarterfinals this year.
Our fine arts are doing more than just fine, as you can tell by this morning's performance, but please allow me to share more. 3 of our choral students were accepted to perform at the All-County Chorus Competition at the Ruth Eckert Hall. The Bogosiega Drama Troupe earned 14 medals at the District Thespian Festival. 4 pirate band members made the PCS All-County Band. Solo and ensemble students earned an excellent rating at the districts, and senior Hudson Heckert just received the highest rating achievable for a solo performance in the state of Florida on the hardest level of music possible. The artwork of more than 25 students has been selected for display in this very building, and several more at the Lipa Ratner Museum, the Dolly Museum, and the Marian Art Center. Additionally, 3 visual art students were awarded scholastic, silver, and gold keys, and 7 more with honorable mention. 2 FBLA members are heading to states after district wins, Josiah for public speaking and Andy for entrepreneurship. Dr. O'Brien's AP Language Composition class received scholastic writing silver keys and 2 other honorable mentions. The Bogosiega High School plank walkers came in 3rd place out of 17 high schools in the Guys Read competition. At Holsa District competition, Bogosiega High School had several students placed in the top 4 for their respective health categories. The National Honor Society inducted 40 new members this year. We had 2 Quest Bridge finalists, Josiah Walker and Brandon Lopez, and lastly, 9 senior athletes have signed to play their respective sports in college.
Obviously, you can tell that there are tons of great things happening on campus and for our students as well. But in my time with Boca Ciega High School, I've experienced a family secondary only to my own blood, in the fact that they support me in all my endeavors, professionally and personally as well, in achieving the highest highs and protecting me in my lowest lows. The school, the fundamental program, the staff, and the students all have helped me and allowed me to come where I am today, being able to even speak in front of the board myself. I thank the school for everything it's done, and going through to my future in college and beyond, I wish to come back to the school and give my thanks one day in the future when I can come back confidently to them.
And what I love most about Boca Ciega High School is its culture. It's a community built on diversity, unity, and school spirit. Boca Ciega High School has created an environment where everyone feels seen and valued, whether it's through sports, clubs, or just everyday interactions in the hallways. This school has taught me the importance of connection and inclusivity. The culture here has shaped me into the person I am today, and I'm proud to be a part of a school that feels like family. Thank you for allowing us this privilege to share all the great things about Boca Ciega High School.
Thank you.
Josiah and Anaya, thank you for sharing all of the tons of great things that are happening at Boca Ciega High School, and as well as that piece around family and school culture. And that kind of element takes leadership. Principal Gill, thank you for being here. Thank you for the leadership you provide at Boca Ciega High School. We are very proud of your high school and your students. Thank you. Item 2, amendments to the agenda. Mr. Hendrick, are there any amendments to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there are no amendments today.
Thank you. Board members, any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Mrs. Long and a second from Mrs. Meyer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Item 4.1 on our special order agenda today, presentation of the 2023-24 Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, better known as ICROC, annual report to the Pinellas County School Board and citizens of Pinellas County. Mr. Hendrick, would you please introduce this item?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to call up Danica Jones, our Chief Academic Officer, and Reagan Miller, this year's chair of the ICROC Committee. We want to thank all of the members. There are 6 members, 7 organizations, 6 additional members other than Reagan Miller, who help to oversee the referendum each and every year. We thank them for their quarterly meetings, the time that they devote, and to Reagan this year for chairing. Not the first year she's chaired, and thank you for doing it again.
Thank you, board members, Mr. Hendrick, and staff. We are pleased to provide this annual report to the board and community. It was in November of 2004 that Pinellas County voters first approved a referendum to support our public schools, and the voters of this community have since renewed the referendum for the 5th time, most recently in November of 2024. The school board established priorities for spending these funds, with currently 70% dedicated to teacher salary, 15% to support salary, and 15% of the funds to supporting reading, visual arts, performing arts, and technology. Since the referendum's inception, the board established the Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, or ICROC, to function as an advisory group to the Pinellas County School Board. ICROC meets quarterly to review referendum expenditures and ensure that its initiatives are following the intent of the board and the public. ICROC includes representation from the Pinellas County Economic Development Council, Concerned Organization for the Quality of Education of Black Students, League of Women Voters, Pinellas Realtors Organization, Arts for Complete Education, Pinellas County Council of PTAs, and the Pinellas Education Foundation. Each year, a member of ICROC presents an annual report to the school board and public. The 23-24 report will be presented today by ICROC Chairperson Ms. Reagan Miller. I am pleased to present Ms. Reagan Miller.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. ICROC continues to meet quarterly to oversee referendum expenditures and provide assurances to the board and the public that the funds are being spent to meet the intent of the voters. In our quarterly reviews, we pay close attention to ensuring that this year's funds are spent on this year's students in a responsible and equitable manner. It is my pleasure to present the following highlights as examples of initiatives supported by the referendum. Due to the support of Pinellas County taxpayers through approval of the referendum, the school system was able to allocate approximately $67.6 million in the 23-24 school year to focus on retaining and recruiting great teachers. The referendum funds provided $6,328 annually to each Pinellas County school teacher's salary. Over $15.5 million was allocated to support arts, reading, and technology innovations across our schools. In the visual arts, Pinellas County Schools had an award-winning year, thanks to the referendum, with 3,446 2D and 3D artworks showcased across 25 exhibitions at local museums, art centers, and galleries. Pinellas County K-12 students received 884 art awards. In the performing arts, more than 100 music classrooms received funding for instruments and equipment. New teachers received enhanced support to ensure a successful start to their careers. Additionally, referendum funds supported all county events in band, chorus, and orchestra, including Ignite Camp, which also includes theater and dance. Technology funds continued to provide software programs to our schools with a focus on creating opportunities to increase academic rigor, student engagement, and individualized instruction, as well as providing for the continued need for targeted professional development for staff. In support of reading, referendum funds were provided to every school to purchase needed resources and materials for their classrooms. Funds continue to support targeted programs for grades K through 2. Hundreds of teachers from all grade levels attended training specific to the needs of their students in meeting state standards. Secondary media centers also receive funds for circulation upgrades and additional electronic book titles. Resources for professional development have continued for our reading and ELA teachers to support with the shift to the benchmarks. As we look towards continued referendum implementation, ICROC will remain steadfast in providing oversight on these invaluable resources and keep the school board and public informed of the district progress. Thank you, Mr. Hendrick, for acknowledging our ICROC committee members. I just wanted to take a minute also to thank them. There are 6 others that are not in the room today, but we do meet quarterly, and for several hours we get to ask questions and really dig in, and the members, from the district that provide all this information, we are certainly very appreciative of them. So thank you again for having me here this morning. Thank you for being here. Board members, any discussion? I would just like to thank you, Reagan, as well as all of the committee members for ICROC. I know we just went through voting for the referendum again, and if you're here, you're an engaged citizen. I probably don't have to mention it again, but I'm going to. So she just shared $67 million additional to our budget in the last school year. So Pinellas County was the second county in the state to first pass a referendum in 2004, and so what that means is we vote to tax ourselves. We're saying we believe so strongly in the impact of education on our county and our community, and we believe that having the best and brightest teachers leads to that positive impact, so we will tax ourselves in order to help with that. So what that means is across the state, I believe the lowest possible starting teacher salary is $48,000. Ours here in Pinellas County is about $54,000, and next year will be a little bit higher thanks to the recent referendum. That makes a huge difference. And I think what gives voters the confidence to approve that referendum every 4 years is the fact that we do have this independent citizens oversight committee that is actually looking at those dollars that are taken in and how they're spent. So again, I just want to say thank you to you, Reagan, and also all the organizations that serve on that committee and provide that oversight. It's exceptional, and it makes a difference in our schools, so thank you. The next item on our agenda is public comments on agenda items. Mrs. Hauk, do we have any speakers this morning?
Yes, Madam Chair. There's one speaker for agenda items.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Mark Clutho is speaking to items 7.12, 7.13, 7.14.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Well, again, bid policies and procedures. And what does that get us? A dim future. The word is correlation. Your bids and procedures. Give us these headlines. More hurricanes are slamming the Gulf Coast. Is this the new normal? Well, you keep doing these same procedures and you're going to get the same results. Hurricane Milton is terrifying and it is just the start. Well, yeah, it's going to get worse. And you have here at 7:13 and 7:14 these easements for Puke Energy. Well, you know, the thing that should be happening is decentralization. Not the power lines, not the grid. Power went out at our house just the other day, and the wind was gone. When you decentralize, you solve the problem. Of course, you probably don't know what that word means. Just like you don't know what high performance passive solar means. Because you don't build like that. You keep doing the same stupid, what's this here? Bid policies and procedures, which are what you keep doing completely asinine.
Madam Chair, there are no more speakers for agenda items.
Thank you. Under unfinished business today, item 6.1, public hearing to consider the amendment to policy 2140, Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, ICROC. This is the second reading, and there are no changes. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item? A motion from Mrs. Kane and a second from Mrs. Long. Mr. Hendrick, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you just mentioned, we are so grateful for the support of our voters in November to approve the referendum and to do so at a 1 mil rate when it's been at a half mil for the last 20 years. And with that change also came how do you spend those funds to meet the will of the voters and the ballot language. And so we've workshopped that. We've had a first reading, and here to review all of that is our Director of Strategic Planning and Policy, Leanna Eisen, and she'll walk the board through those changes and what that means for the district.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Hendrick, staff, and community. In item 6.1, we're recommending amendment to policy 2140, Independent Citizens Referendum Oversight Committee, ICROC. First, again, we would like to thank the community and the board and our community partners for the support of the ad valorem tax referendum. The amendments to policy 2140 reflect the new ballot language from the November election and the agreed upon utilization of the tax referendum funds for reading, music, and art classes and staff salaries and benefits, specifically 70% for teacher salaries and benefits, including supplements, recruitment, and retention, 15% for support staff salaries and benefits, including supplements, recruitment, and retention, and 15% for music, art, and reading classes and updated technology. Upon board approval, these amendments will take effect on July 1, 2024. We recommend approving these amendments.
Thank you. Mrs. Hauk, are there any speakers to this item?
Yes, Madam Chair. The first speaker is Mark Clutho.
Are there additional speakers?
No, just the one.
Thank you.
Mark Clutho, Largo. It's very interesting. You have 6 goals with this, but 1 in 6. Oh boy. Number 1, strategic priority, academic excellence through innovation. And you want to touch on reading, music, art, and technology. Technology. But what technology do you wizards ignore? Yeah. Because number 6, you say, your strategic priority is fiscal and operational responsibility. So I ask you, what follows from what? Are you really being fiscally and operationally responsible with the money that you are receiving? And the technology that is available? I don't think you're even close. Not even close. Why do you think the planet's burning? Why do you think that I just read the headlines that I did? If you're going to take this money and supposedly teaching these children's and providing for their future, and doing it responsibly, you need to be on track. And you just can't seem to do it. It's a doggone shame.
Madam Chair, there are no other speakers for this item.
Thank you. Board members, is there any discussion? Mrs. Edmond?
Thank you. May the record reflect on February 11th, I suggested that the board make the policy clearer and include more specific language regarding charter schools. However, the majority of the board decided not to make the policy more specific. Thank you.
Mr. Kapersky, I would just like to also reflect for the record, could you please confirm that the way the policy is written, it is in accordance with the ballot language as approved by the citizens of Pinellas County?
Yes, it is. The ballot, the policy language is sufficient to implement the will of the voters.
Thank you. Board members, any other discussion? With that, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve item 6.1. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Item 6.2, public hearing to consider the repeal of policies 5113, School of Choice Options provided by the No Child Left Behind Act, 6100, Uniform Records and Accounts, 7230, Gifts to the School District, 7300, Property Custodianship and Insurance, 7320, Acquisition and Removal of Tangible Property, 7320.01, Disposal, Sale, or Exchange of Tangible Property, 7450, Inventories and Property Records, 7455, Accounting System for Fixed Assets, 7530, Lending of District-Owned Equipment and Adoption of Policy, 7300, Accountability and Responsibility for School Board Property. This is the second reading, and there are no changes. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item? Motion from Mrs. Peters, second from Mrs. Long. Mr. Hendrick, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You did a good job going through each of those numbers. The bulk of those are the combination of prior policies into one that governs all of property, and it brings us up to speed with how state and federal governments also handle property. The other is a repeal of the No Child Left Behind Act, which has long been gone from federal legislation. It was replaced by the Every Student Succeeds Act many years ago, and so it's just bringing our policy up to speed with practice. We have workshopped this, and we had a first reading, and now for the second, I'll pass it back to Mrs. Eisen.
In item 6.2, we are recommending the repeal and adoption of policies as a result of continuous improvement processes and streamlining of policies and operational processes. First, upon review of policy 5113, School of Choice Options provided by the No Child Left Behind Act, staff has determined that this policy is no longer necessary because it is outdated and is duplicative of law, as Mr. Hendrick just stated. Therefore, we recommend repealing that policy. As specified in the agenda item and during the first reading in February, we're recommending the repeal of 8 policies related to property records. We also recommend adopting a new policy, Policy 7300, titled Accountability and Responsibility for School Board Property. As Mr. Hendrick said, this new policy would streamline the 8 repealed policies into one cohesive property records policy, and it removes procedures from policy as well. There are a handful of recommended substantive changes to the new Policy 7300, which were detailed in the first reading again in February and posted in today's agenda item. In summary, the changes are increasing the fixed asset threshold from $1,000 to $5,000 in accordance with the Florida Department of Financial Services and adjusting the classes of equipment required to be tagged and inventoried accordingly. Eliminating the requirement for an annual inventory of uncapitalized technology and for schools to annually inventory items less than $1,000. Ensuring compliance with tracking of all property is monitored and reported during the annual inventory process and reported to the board. We recommend approving these amendments.
Thank you, Mrs. Eisen. Mrs. Hauk, are there any speakers?
Madam Chair, there are no speakers for this item.
Thank you. Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve item 6.2. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. For the consent agenda, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? Motion from Mrs. Long and a second from Mrs. Kane. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. On the non-consent agenda today, we have 2 items. Item 8.1, request approval for 2025-26 instructional materials adoption. May I have a motion and a second to approve this item? Second. Motion from Mrs. Blacksburg and a second from Mrs. Edmond. Mr. Hendrick, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, we annually adopt one content area of instructional materials, and this year is science, and the board has held public hearings related to this already this school year. And so I call up our Chief Academic Officer, Danica Jones, and our Coordinator of Instructional Materials, Megan Fry, to talk through the process.
Great morning. I'm lucky I get 2 times today. Thank you, board members, Mr. Hendrick, and staff. We are pleased to bring forward the K-12 science instructional materials for consideration and for your approval. As required by state statute, we have now completed the required public review period and our open public hearing. Online access was made available to the public from January 21st to March 25th, which is beyond the required 20-day review period. The instructional materials were also posted on our website for public review. Per state statute, all school districts must approve the adoption of materials in each of our subject areas. And in this case, as in all cases, district committees were formed to review materials submitted before you for adoption. These committees included teachers, community members, instructional coaches, school administrator, and district staff. I'd like to recognize the great work of our K-12 science team, Ms. Megan Fry, and her staff for their diligent work. As mentioned, the public hearing was held last month, and with the process now complete, we'd like to ask for approval per our timeline. We thank you for your time and consideration today.
Thank you. Board members, any discussion? Mrs. Edmond?
I would just like to say thank you. It was mentioned at the first hearing or first discussion regarding this that the public had access to it for longer than the time that would usually be provided. So that is appreciated. I feel like the process has been very transparent ever since the presentation at our workshop. The materials have been available. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Thank you. With that, we have a motion and second on the floor to approve item 8.1. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Item 8.2, request approval of the district English Learners or EL plan. May I have a motion and second to approve this item?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Kane and a second by Ms. Edmond. Mr. Hendrick, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mrs. Hine. Every 3 years, the district submits to the Department of Education a plan for approval of how we will follow state and federal laws to educate English language learners. And today, to give the board and public an update on how we do that and a little bit more about our plan that has been submitted is Dr. Natasha Karach, our Director of English Language Learner Services. Dr. Karach.
Thank you. Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Hendrick and staff, members of the community. The District English Learner or EL plan is submitted to the Florida Department of Education for approval every 3 years, as Mr. Hendrick has stated. It outlines the policies and procedures that the district's school that ensure that the district schools comply with the requirements and federal court orders that pertain to educating English learners. Specifically, it outlines procedures for identification of ELs, grade level and course placement, EL student plan development, instructional models such as our dual language programs, for example, student progression, participation in statewide assessments, procedures for monitoring students who exit the program, parent and student rights, and personnel training. There are no major changes to the plan in this renewal period. The changes that were made were formatting for clarity purposes. The plan was presented to the EL families on multiple occasions throughout the school year via the EL Parent Leadership Council and parent workshops. Parents were invited and encouraged to participate, provide feedback in a meaningful way, and in their native languages. As required, the plan was signed and approved by the English Learner Parent Leadership Council Chair, Mrs. Lopez, whose children are ELs currently attending our schools. She has 3, one in our VPK programs, one in our middle schools, and one is a high school student. We will continue working with our community to keep improving the achievement and access for our English learners. As a direct result of our district EL plan implementation, some of the key accomplishments and initiatives contributing to their success include tremendous academic performance in reading and math proficiencies, advanced coursework and gifted studies when compared to their peers across the state. With a record high EL graduation rate. Again, ELs in Pinellas graduated at a 91% rate in 2023-24 school year, surpassing state EL peers by 10 percentage points. The EL graduation rate has consistently exceeded the state average since 2017-18 school year. This level of success has been accomplished due to the supports for ELs built into core curriculum with the work of ESOL teachers and bilingual assistants directly supporting grade level standards and rigorous grade level curriculum. Collaboration and cross-coordination with district departments, community services, and organizations. Intentional planning for access to accelerated courses and programs such as our Camp Invention, our summer camp, providing rigorous curriculum, promoting confidence and problem-solving skills. It integrates ELs with non-EL gifted students, enhancing enrichment opportunities for them. Our ESOL Resource Fair, an annual event connecting EL families with vital community resources. This year, in January, the Community ESOL Resource Fair was a resounding success, featuring 65 vendors, community organizations, and district departments, and attracting over 250 English learner families. Translation and interpretation services that provided meaningful access to resources and information. Our comprehensive support system includes a Spanish parent helpline, phone interpreters available 24/7 to all of our schools and district departments in 350 languages, and translated written district communications. Our ESOL College and Career Initiatives, providing high school English learners with career exploration opportunities, showcasing diverse programs, and organizing field trips to local colleges and universities. As a result of these intentional collaborative efforts, EL academic achievement in our district continues to improve. These initiatives demonstrate our commitment to ensuring access and opportunities for English learner families and students.
Thank you, Dr. Karach. Board members, any discussion? Ms. Edmond?
I would just like to acknowledge the work of you and your team. What you just spoke to highlights the commitment to our EL students that we have here in Pinellas County Schools. And one thing specifically out of the 46-page document, EL plan, here presented to us today, I just want to highlight the state statutes as well as court decisions that this plan is based upon. And for the public who may be interested on what laws, rules, and regulations and federal court orders this plan is following, it's listed on page 3 of the document. It includes civil rights standards, Title VI compliance, Florida Educational Equity Act, and several items which really highlight our commitment to children and families that we serve. So thank you and your team for your work.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? With that, we have a motion and a second to approve item 8.2. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. New business. Items introduced by the superintendent. Mr. Hendrick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, welcome back for all of our students and staff. Spring break may seem like a far time away, but it just ended, and so we have 9 weeks of school left and so much to accomplish. I want to start by thanking the board for their vote on the IC-ROC policy. That officially now puts into motion the opportunity for our employees beginning July 1st to receive a raise as a result of the referendum. And we're so excited about that. We do have tentative agreements with all of our bargaining units. They're out for ratification now, and we look to see those raises hit our employees as soon as possible on July 1st and thereafter. It also allows staff and the committees that support that, of which there are public participation, to begin to look at the reading, the arts, the technology, and the other ways that the referendum supports our students and our staff. And so thank you for that vote, and we look forward to the implementation in the next 4 years. Of course, we continue to track legislation in Tallahassee. I know that board members have been to Tallahassee recently. Several others are going soon, and all the board has been in regular contact with our delegation, as I have. We expect the House and Senate funding models to come very soon, and that will give us a better picture of the budget for 25-26. We do anticipate further conversations on legislation and the budget situation at our April 15th school board workshop. I want to congratulate our state finalists in the Senior Volunteer of the Year category, Vernon Bryant. We recognized him just not too long ago as our district winner, he was named as one of 3 state finalists in the Outstanding School Volunteer for the state of Florida. He's been a volunteer at Richard O. Jacobson Technical High School since its inception. He's served on the School Advisory Council, been a mentor for Lunch Pals, a Take Stock in Children mentor, and a community partner. He's also helped our students with a couple of major community projects such as Rise Against Hunger and Sleep in Heavenly Peace events. Congratulations to Mr. Bryant on this statewide honor. I also want to congratulate 2 of our athletic teams who recently were named as the state academic champions in winter sports. Eastlake High School won for the Class 6A girls soccer team, who had the highest GPA in the state, and also in the girls wrestling team. In addition, we had 7 Pinellas County Schools teams finish in the top 5 of their classification in the state. We always recognize our champions of the Pinellas County Athletic Conference as well, and I did a lot of those last meeting. But we didn't have an opportunity to recognize our 2 middle school track and field champions, and they let me know about it because they weren't done yet, and they wanted to make sure they got recognized. And so Dunedin Highland Middle School girls track and field team won the PCAC championship, and the Oak Grove Middle School boys team won the middle school track and field championship. Congratulations to both teams. Today opens Summer Bridge registration for students and families. You can find out more information on our website about Summer Bridge. This year, the program is changing the criteria for students attending Summer Bridge to have a really specific focus on early literacy and closing reading gaps. You can find out more about that from the parent side, and our employees today receive notification of all of the job opportunities available in our summer programs to apply for those as well. We also opened today registration for the Rising Kindergarten program. That is available to every incoming Pinellas County kindergarten student, and it's aimed for students who are coming into kindergarten, and yes, their parents, to provide them a smooth transition into kindergarten. Our awards season is well underway. I want to thank the board for their participation in a number of awards events the last month, and we have several more coming up, including the Yes I Can Awards, the Maria Edmonds Hispanic Achievement Awards, the Academic Pride Awards, and the Honors Breakfast are all in the next month, and we look forward to celebrating our students. Early in April, we will connect with our families, as we've done the last several years, around ridership for transportation for next year. So parents, please be on the lookout for communication in early April on the bus stop or the bus transportation needs of your child for next year. And finally, as I do at each meeting, I'd like to recognize a member of the Pinellas County Schools employee family as a superintendent standout. And this meeting's standout is Laura Vaughn, a teacher at Dunedin Highland Middle School. Her colleague comments that Mrs. Vaughn is an excellent math teacher. She exemplifies her commitment to students when she devotes countless hours of her time to prepare students for math competitions, in addition to her regular duties as a teacher. On a recent Saturday, her hard work paid off when her students were successful at the regional Mighty Moo math competition. Many of her students were awarded individual trophies, and her algebra team placed first in the region in that category. Congratulations to Mrs. Vaughn and her students on a continued job well done. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Hendrick. Items introduced by the school board attorney, Mr. Kapersky.
Madam Chair, I have no report today. Thank you.
Thank you. Items introduced by the board. Mrs. Edmond. Ms. Edmond.
Thank you. On March 14th, Superintendent Hendrick and I had the opportunity to meet with Congresswoman Castor's aide to discuss the impact of hurricanes and disaster recovery efforts. So as we prepare for a new hurricane season in just a few months, it's important that we remember that we have not fully recovered financially, as well as our buildings aren't completely back in use yet. So I just think that that's something that we all should be aware of as we continue to move forward. Also, April 2nd and April 3rd is the Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards legislative event. We will be meeting in Tallahassee, and as the president of the organization and an engaged board member, I believe it's extremely important that we remain in contact with our legislators, as well as to continue to advocate for our platform that we have here, as well as with our partners throughout the state of Florida. And last but not least, the next District Monitoring Advisory Committee meeting will be held April 24th at 6 p.m. virtually, and that information is available to the public and is on the PCSB website. Thank you.
Any other board members? Ms. Blacksburg?
Yes, I had a chance, excuse me, I had a chance to attend the FSBA conference in Tallahassee this past week. While I think everybody else was enjoying spring break, I was lobbying our legislators to support our legislative agenda. I had a chance to meet with several members of our delegation, and they are all up to date and aware of our priorities and are very supportive. So we appreciate them taking the time out of their very busy schedule. It's real busy up there right now. So
Thank you for doing that and being there. Mrs. Kane?
Thank you very much. Well, additionally, I was also in Tallahassee with Ms. Blacksburg for the Florida State School Board Board of Directors meeting, which was held last week, where we continued to receive updates with everything that is going on with the Department of Education and how that may be affecting state legislation and possibly our local district as well. So I'll continue to keep us updated as time moves on as to the changes that may be happening quickly. But as of now, there are no substantive changes to be aware of in regards to our local district. But it was an interesting meeting, and we learned a lot about also what is being put forth educationally in our legislators, with our legislators this legislative session. Thank you.
Thank you. Other board members? I too would like to say welcome back from spring break. You know, I see this as an energizing moment. It's spring, you know, rejuvenation, rebirth, all those things, and it's entering into our fourth quarter of school. And so I would just say to all of our educators and our team out there, you know, it's kind of like starting that fourth loop around the track if you're running the mile at the fourth quarter of a game or, you know, whatever it is, that this is the moment where we bring it home, and I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about it because I'm very proud of Pinellas County Schools, and I'm very proud of the work we've done over the last several years, if not longer, in our academic achievement. You know, we shared our superintendent shared at the recent Listen and Learn, as well as at a recent workshop, the NAEP data, which is the nation's report card, and the analysis that was done to look at recovery from the pandemic. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend looking at it. But Pinellas is doing quite well, and I am very, very proud of where we are. And so I want to say, keep it up. I'm looking forward to the end of this school year as well, but also have fun, enjoy all the field trips and celebrations and graduations and moving up ceremonies and everything from kindergarten, 5th grade, 8th grade, all the different milestones. You know, we are rounding that corner, and also let us know how we can help you finish out this school year strong. I know we have a lot of public speakers today, I think. Mrs. Haug, do you have an idea how many?
There are 22 individuals signed up to speak.
And I don't know what people are here to speak about, but I have a feeling a number of you are here to speak about immigration. Is that true? Just head nod. Okay, thank you. I didn't prepare any remarks on this topic, but I just thought I would share with you. I think you're here, I think you care about that issue because you care about children. You know, and there's this innate human feeling to care about children. I think many of us are parents, and even if you're not, you could see them as your own children, right? And so it creates this worry. So I just want to honor that love of children that I think we all share. I also want to mention that we are aware of the dialogue, of the discussion. Our leadership here at the district, from our superintendent to our attorney to our police chief, our school safety, everybody is aware of this issue. We have provided guidance to our principals and into our schools. We have spoken about it at past school board meetings. We have also spoken about it at school board workshops, and we are happy to address it with you. But it is something we are aware of and care about. We have not ever had an immigration officer from ICE visit a school, but it is something that we do care about and talk about. So thank you for being here today, and certainly please continue to communicate with us. What I would also ask you is to please communicate with your state legislators as well as with your federal officials, right? You need to be calling Congress, you need to be calling your senators, because this is where, right, federal, state, local, we all took civics, of course, and so make sure you are advocating where you need to advocate at the right levels, but certainly welcome, and we value hearing from you. Any other comments from board members? Mrs. Woodford, review of board requests. Any requests today?
No, ma'am, I did not note any board requests.
Thank you. With that, I adjourn this meeting and we'll move to public presentation. I'm going to read a statement about public presentation for our meetings. We will now receive public comment on the general business of the district. Please note that the views and comments of the public speakers are their own and are not endorsed nor sponsored by the school board or district. We cannot ensure the accuracy of statements made, but will review concerns that are raised and take appropriate action, which may include clarifications or the referral of speakers to the proper staff members for assistance. The board is committed to a standard of civility and decorum in conducting our meetings. This includes refraining from clapping or making audible noises during or after a speaker's comments. We appreciate you in assisting us with maintaining this civil and constructive environment. Additionally, please note that although board members or Superintendent Hendrick may leave the dais briefly, there are speakers in the back room, and we will continue to be able to hear your comments. Thank you. Mrs. Haug?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll call 2 speakers at a time so they can come to each lectern. The first 2 speakers are Jane B. Davis and Lita Latiz.
Good morning. I'm Jane B. Davis, and I thank you for allowing the public to have a chance to speak. I wanted to say up front that I support the decision to not allow ICE into our schools. I read over the core values stated on the PCS webpage. I want to also interject here that I'm very proud of Pinellas County Schools, too. I'm getting a little weepy here. I started teaching in 1982 at Southside Fundamental. I continued there until we closed that school down, and I was very blessed to end up at Madeira Beach Fundamental, beautiful campus. It was a great way to end my career. So from 1982 to 2019, I was a part of this family and community. And so I knew about, well, I guess I went through the quality movement somewhere in the 90s. And I knew that we had a mission statement. I knew that we had core values, but I hadn't looked at them since I retired, so I wanted to review them. I want to say that not allowing ICE aligns with that mission, aligns with those core values. The mission is to prepare students for college, career, and life. The values include connecting with the community, building caring relationships, working with families from various cultures and religions. Integrity is a core value. Committing to doing the right thing for the right reasons. Finally, the core values include taking responsibility and teaming with others who share the mission of Pinellas County Schools, and I just don't see ICE really committed to that same vision. They are an organization that uses strong arm practices. Sometimes they don't even follow our Constitution. And so I think that keeping them out of our classroom is consistent with the mission and values of this board and community. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good morning. I signed up too early, didn't I? got here early. I'm Lita Latiz. My comments come from a deep place of emotion. I might tear up too. Emotion and values. I'm a product of Pinellas County Schools. I've sent 7 children and, let's see, 3 grandchildren through Pinellas County Schools, so I have a love of the system. For me, the attempts to weaponize school districts and school children in the service of a political agenda is deeply abhorrent and terrifying. The thought, my youngest granddaughter is now in kindergarten, and the thought of her, like, maybe one day missing a friend in her class that she knew who's not there, and we don't know how to explain that, is just terrifying is the word I have. And so I implore you, each of you, please do everything you can to keep the love that Chairman Hines spoke of for children foremost in the education. Please, please, please do everything you can to keep ICE out of our schools.
The next two speakers are Denise Belmont and Carol McNamee.
Go ahead, Carol.
No, you go.
You want me to go?
Mhm.
Hi. Thank you for letting me speak. I thank the board and community members that are here, and superintendent. I'm Denise Belmont. I'm not originally from this area. You can tell from my accent, I guess. But I was a teacher. I say that I'm a retired, recovering public school teacher. I taught English language, K through 12, and I also taught English as a second language, ESL, K through 12, and also to adults. I just wanted to speak about, not so much the issue at hand or as to what side you're on about the issue of ICE coming into the schools, but mostly I just wanted to remind people why I think most of us are here. And it's because we're concerned for student safety, of course, and also for their education, to make sure that continues, and that, as you say, you're doing a good job, numbers are going up, and so we want to keep that in an atmosphere of what's going on today. So there are districts around America that are taking note of what's happening within their schools, what they're noticing, and then they're creating guidelines with the help of their legal team, who knows the laws around what can be done, and guidelines so everybody knows what the guidelines are and who's going to head up if someone comes from ICE, who's going to be the point person, and how that all happens. So that helps to create an atmosphere of less fear, right? Safety for the staff, for the administration, and then that then continues on to the kids. And so, because it's really difficult to learn when you're in a fear-based atmosphere. And so we want to try, I think, to all of us, to kind of head that off. And so if you haven't developed guidelines, I recommend you do that. I have a sample. I just wrote down some things, but I'm sure they're out there for you to go by. The reason why I bring it up is because what they're seeing out there, the districts around America are seeing that that ICE raids in these sensitive areas, and especially schools, are threatening school safety, but they're also threatening academic progress. And that's concerning to us because we just, as in the state, we just put $40 million into school safety, right? We increased it by $40 million. And another $20 million into mental health services for our students. So what they're finding
Thank you.
is that it's lowering school attendance, it's delaying school buses.
I'm sorry, that's your 3 minutes.
That's
Just-
time has expired.
Yeah, anybody who's new here, there's a clock you can see.
No, ma'am, I'm sorry. Everybody gets 3 minutes to speak, and there's no extension of time. So thank you very much. You're more than happy to email the board at board@pcsb.org. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. I'm Carol McNamee. I'm not going to name all the boards I sit on that you know that I am. I'm not here to speak in that role. I'm here to speak to say thank you. I know some of you realize that I told Mrs. Edmonds this morning that usually I'm here berating you, but this time I'm here to thank you and to let you know that we're behind you. I truly appreciate the sacrifices that you make to sit up there. I've worked on some of your campaigns, and I know what it's like, and I really thank you. Hope I don't start crying. a long time ago, after I retired, I decided to be a substitute teacher for a couple of years, and I requested dropout prevention. And I've taught in the city jail, in the county jail, and the juvenile welfare, and you know what I mean, the detention. And one day when I was at Leoman, I was in a trailer with a teacher. It was about 8 students, and they needed a second teacher because of the danger, I guess, but the teacher was there. While I was there, a Pinellas County deputy came into the classroom and put handcuffs on a kid. And I looked around at the students and thought, oh dear God, and it really was not appropriate. The kid had gotten into some problem early in the day at the bus stop or whatever, but I remember that so well. And I remember the teacher saying to me, that was necessary. And I said, I do not know that was necessary. It's upsetting to me and it's upsetting to them. And so then I requested a supervisor to come, and they interviewed me and said, asked me questions, and I said, it's not my job as a superintendent, as a substitute, to report on teachers. I'll just tell you what it made me feel like. It made me feel like I was going to throw up. I was so upset, and I know those children were upset. And I spend a lot of my time protecting children in this county, and that's what I want you to do. It is not a proper learning environment for kids to get up in the morning and think, oh God, am I going to be taken out of the classroom? Is my friend going to be taken out of the classroom? So I know that you're in a lot of danger in terms of what can happen to you. I just want you to know I'm here with you.
The next 2 speakers are Kimberly Cooper and Lois Rogers Watson.
Thank you very much for letting me come. My name is Kimberly Cooper, and I applaud your decision to keep ICE out of the school district. I think that's a very wise decision. Right now, because of the human rights violations that ICE has been doing in our country, the Germany, UK, Denmark, Finland, and Canada have all put our country on their official travel warnings. Thanks to a very good education I had, reading and love it, and loving to learn, I'm on the internet, despite my age. And I am listening to attorneys and all kinds of stuff and watching news that's in other states and such. And there are a lot of people from other countries, Australia, Canada, the UK, you name it, they're all saying the same thing. We have canceled our vacation to the United States because of the human rights violations that are going on in the United States. And there's even TV news reports that are going on about this. This is hearsay, but this is being reported. There was a man, he was born in the United States, many years of living in the United States. He was walking down the street. ICE just nabbed him off the street. They said he looked like an undocumented immigrant. They took away his wallet, held him for 10 hours. Finally, and he kept telling them, hey, I'm a U.S. citizen. They finally gave him back his wallet, looked in there, found the proof that he was a U.S. citizen, and they let him loose. Later on, his attorney went back to ICE and said, hey, what about this? And they said, oh, we don't have any documentation about this. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. And so I applaud you. Thank you very much for keeping ICE out.
Good morning, School Board, Superintendent Hendrick. I'm Reverend Lois Rogers Watson, and I'm here to commend you for your stance so far about trying to keep ICE out of the schools and keeping these children safe. I speak for immigrants too while I'm here because I know how important they are. Think of what they do in our communities. They're doing jobs that many of us would not want to do. And what's amazing to me is how they work so hard for their children. I just recently was at a rather low-grade motel, and we inquired did they have children, the managers of the hotel. Yes, indeed, they did. They had 3, 2 boys and a girl. All 3 of them were in graduate school. 2 of them are going to be doctors, 1 of them a lawyer. It's amazing if we could look back in our own families and the histories of our families. My family came here in 1690, but think of all the people who have come since that time and how they've enriched our society. We need everyone. The birth rate has gone down in the United States of America. We need these immigrants for that as well. It sounds very selfish, doesn't it? But it's very, very true. So I just thank you for what you're doing for all children in the schools, and especially for those who right now are under a lot of tension because they can't help but feel how their parents are feeling, even though I'm sure those parents are trying to hide them. So thank you for your time, and thank you for your hard work.
The next 2 speakers are Claudia Albright and Johanna Holloway.
Mrs. Hauk, do you want to say who the next 2 are so they can also just be ready?
Those 2 speakers will be followed by Elizabeth Weinstein and Nicole St. Ledger.
I'm Claudia Albright. I would like to speak to you from the viewpoint of a child, perhaps because that's my clearest memory at the moment. And when I was 8 years old, it was 1945, and we had a child in our neighborhood that we did not know what happened, and the youngest of us were never told, but he was taken away. And that stuck with us. We were afraid we were going to be the next to be taken away. And it stuck with me for many months, going to sleep at night, wondering if the next day my brother and I would be taken away. What you have done, taking care of making your decisions based on the children, no matter what's going on in their lives, they know that the school can be a safe place for them. I thank you for that, and the child in me thanks you.
Hi, my name is Jonna Holloway. I'd like to commend everybody who has spoken for keeping ICE out of our schools, keeping the kids safe. I know a lot of things, laws are decided above you, but I hope that y'all will know that I think the community wants ICE out of the schools. The community wants the Department of Education to stay intact. I don't think it's right to have education be splintered off into other agencies where it's not their main concern. I think the Department of Education should be better funding so we could have more support teachers to be there for the kids that are having the problems. Also, if funding is cut for the free school lunches or free food for the kids, I hope y'all will find the funding for that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Beth Weinstein, and I'm a parent of a student in this district. I'm here today because, like you, I care deeply about the kind of environment our children are learning in. And I want to second Ms. Hines' call to reach out to your both state and your local representatives about these issues. I want to thank you for your decision not to participate in ICE's task force program. You made the right call. As a parent, I know how important it is for children to feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally. Our students can't learn if they're afraid. They can't focus if they're constantly looking over their shoulders, wondering if today is the day that their family members, themselves, or one of their class members disappears. Let's be clear. Children are not criminals. They're students. They're kids. They come to school each day with hopes and with challenges and with the desire to belong. And when they walk into a classroom, they should be seen as learners, not suspects, not an illegal human being. We know from study after study that immigrant-rich communities and sanctuary areas are actually safer than those that ramp up enforcement. When families trust their schools, they show up, they engage, they contribute. But when fear takes root, attendance drops, participation plummets, and our whole community suffers. The ICE task force doesn't make anyone safer. What it does, it creates a chilling effect. Families pull back, students disappear from classrooms, parents skip teacher conferences or hesitate to reach out when they do need help. That hurts every single student, not just the undocumented ones. We know that you are under pressure right now, and I understand that very keenly. But I also know that leadership means standing firm in your values, even when it's hard. And as a parent, I want to say thank you for leading this conversation with compassion and courage and common sense. Please don't give in to the fear-based rhetoric. You've shown us before that you're putting students first. And today I want you to know that we see you, we support you, and we're counting on you to stay the course. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I am Nicole St. Ledger, mom of 2 Pinellas County High School students and 2 graduates. Throughout the conversations regarding the block schedule changes, I have found the explanations and the statements from this board and superintendent to be disingenuous at best and outright lies at worst. The district has said there will be no impact to academic studies and programs, that the integrity of all programs will be maintained. Saying this to make us feel better about the changes is disingenuous and is a lie made by the district. Program integrity cannot be maintained with the extensive teacher cuts that have been shared with the schools. As teachers are let go, courses and even complete lines of study will no longer be available. These class losses could impact the program's magnet programs of distinction and excellent awards. As the programs are negatively impacted, the desire to attend these award-winning programs could drop. This is not maintaining program integrity. I've had members of the board tell me the principals at these schools have the power to be flexible and think outside of the box with the new schedules. And if they can make the 8-class schedule work, they can do it. I've been asked to go back and talk to the administrations. So I have, and I've learned that these statements from the board members are lies. The principals have been told to be creative in their new schedules, but have not been told they could keep 8 classes. The district has also told families that academics will not be affected with the decreased number of classes. While disingenuous for all programs, it is a lie that has tremendous impact on many students. In some schools, parents have been told to prepare to have their children have to take online classes to get their academic curriculum. Since then, families have been informed that their students will have to register for dual enrollment to get academic courses in programs that do not allow students to stay in the program if they sign up for dual enrollment. With these cuts, schools will not be able to provide basic classes. This is not maintaining academic excellence. You show us every meeting the experiential activities taking place in the district and how important they are for academic engagement. Yet the programs targeted are the ones bringing experiential learning into the classrooms every day. Damaging these programs are incongruous with the commitment to experiential learning and academic engagement. I want to end with sharing my disappointment with this board and the district. The actions and statements by you are incongruous with your commitment to in-person learning, experiential learning, and 100% student success. And
the next 2 speakers are Mark Clutho and Kathy O'Gara. They will be followed by Caitlin Hammersley and Lee Bryant.
Mark Clutho, Largo. Boy, I'll tell you, I sure wish I had all those medals that those little toy soldiers had. that were here earlier. Yeah, it was quite a show. And I'll be going to the Hillsborough School Board meeting this afternoon. They never have that ritual of those toy soldiers like you do here. That's just pathetic. You know, I can't see any of them in Secretary of War Hegseth's military. I don't think they'll make it. Don't think they'll make it at all. Yeah. Yeah, as I was saying before, things are not pretty. You know, your sick buildings are bringing a future that will be very desolate. Winston Churchill, 1960, said, "We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us." Yeah, from Time magazine. And, you know, those hurricanes last year, they didn't even hit us. And how about this one? Growing concerns over U.S. measles cases. You see the map? So Florida, you crazy religious people don't need to get vaccinated. Yeah. And you have that wacko Kennedy that says get vitamins and you'll be okay. Oh, I say we're on a path to ruin here. Trump and his boys. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Sad, sad day.
Greetings to all of you. Good morning, and thank you so much for your service to our kids and our community. I really appreciate it. My name is Kathy O'Gara. I've been a resident. I don't know if I need the microphone or not. I've been a resident of Pinellas County for 60 years, a resident of Largo for 25 years. 2 of my kids have graduated from the schools, and I have 2 grandchildren that I adopted. I'm an active volunteer, and I want to take a moment just to say thank you for helping to finance the trip to the Rose Bowl. I find both of the schools that my kids are in to be fantastic. I hope that what you meant by discussing what to do with ICE, that there actually is an action plan in place, because there's going to be a lot of pressure if that ends up showing up. The reason the older people are here, us, is because we were actually taught something about civics in school that I think that the future generations may not have been taught. For that reason, I'm going to read this to you so I don't forget what I really came to say. I grew up hearing about the Nazis sending Jews to concentration camps. Hitler made the people believe the Jews were the problem with their country. We were told in school we must make sure that never happens again. Similarly, now, we the American people are being told that illegal immigrants are our country's problem. I don't see the difference in the Nazis coming for Anne Frank and her family and sending them to concentration camps, and ICE coming to our schools, separating children from their families, and being sent to detention centers. We have to all think for ourselves. I talk to my kids all the time, even if it's me, even if it's your best friend, no matter who it is. Think for yourself and come up with your own decisions. And also, another thing is, we've been telling our kids, the police are your friends. The police are your friends, like that. And the police, sends the clear message that the police are not their friends. So we really have to decide as a community. I will stand with you, but you guys are probably going to really have to stand firm as solid, you know, and we're going out protesting. I see my fellow protesters out here. We're trying our best. I'm 70 years old. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lee Bryant. I'm president of the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, and I brought this up before. This is our contract negotiated between the school board and the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association. This week I've been getting a lot of attention, a lot of conversation about one of the clauses in the contract. On page 47, item F, at the end of every marking period, the 5 work days prior to grades being due will be without mandatory meetings for all teachers. If administrators are calling mandatory meetings this week, they're either ignorant of the contract or deliberately violating the contract. Some teachers live in fear of pointing out the contract language because they feel that some administrators, and I will say some, most of our administrators are wonderful people, but a few of them are a bit extreme. They fear their employment, especially those teachers on the annual contract. They're always worried about. I've got a couple of things that came out from one of the schools. Quote, this is something we've been grappling with for a few months. Since we originally met with you at the beginning of the calendar year, it has been getting worse since we've had regular meetings with our principal. Our members have requested that at least one person from the district office come to the meeting because there is a pretty significant fear of underhandedness and retaliation. This morning, while we were sitting at the meeting, I got an email. Sorry for the additional email, but I thought it was relevant that when I arrived this morning, almost the entire staff was sitting in the routine Tuesday faculty meeting. It was reported to me that teachers felt, quote, afraid not to attend based on the email and the school climate it represents. The wording saying optional doesn't make it optional when you have the fear that you're going to be getting your administrator upset. Administrating by fear is no way to run a school or a school system. And speaking of fear, at the last school board meeting, I provided sample school safe zones resolution to the members. Our students and their families should not have to live in fear for sending their students to school because they are worried that ICE may show up to detain or question them. Enacting the Safe Schools resolution by the school board will at least publicly signify that our schools are a safe place to learn. From the resolution, the district shall post this resolution at every school site and distribute it to district staff, to students, to parents, using the usual means of communication, and that the resolution will be translated into all languages spoken by the students at home. We need to make sure that our students feel safe, and I believe the adoption of the school safe zones resolution will help do that.
Hi, my name's Caitlin Hammersley. I have a child who attends a Pinellas County school, and next year we'll have 2 at Pinellas County schools. Thank you all for your service and commitment to Pinellas County schools. I'm here, like so many others, to express appreciation and support of the school board's decision not to send a representative for deportation training. Thank you. I approve of this action and want to thank you for making a principled, student-centered decision. Chairperson Hine, I also appreciate you acknowledging all of our collective love of children and highlighting what the school board is doing to keep children safe at school, and for the encouragement to contact our representatives, both state and national, to share these thoughts. I'd like to quote Zev Zent, who's a high school student reporter in Texas. Schools should be safe places for students, not places of fear and intimidation. Allowing ICE into schools creates anxiety, disrupts learning drastically, and drastically affects immigrant students and their families. Schools should be safe places for students, not places of fear and intimidation. I think you all are hearing the trend here, and I'm glad we're all in agreement. So, in closing, I implore you, each of you, not to bow to political pressure or fear-based rhetoric. Thank you for continuing to keep all children safe at Pinellas County Schools. Appreciate it.
The next two speakers are Rob Sibierski and Jean Grabner. They'll be followed by Sophia Conley and Keegan Herwander.
I am Jean Grabner, a recent transplant from the state of Michigan. I'm a retired public school teacher, and after 40 years in the trenches, so to speak, there's one thing I know for sure: stress shuts the brain down. I can't imagine anything more stressful for a student than worrying about whether they can go home, they or their friends can go home at the end of a school day. In short, I fully support keeping ICE away from the school environment, and I commend you for your efforts in that regard. Thank you.
My name is Rob Sibierski. I'm a resident of Pinellas County, and I'm a retired federal agent. I spent 3 of my 25 years as a special agent assigned to the American Embassy, Panama, from which I covered the 7 countries that comprise Central America. I've been in the bad areas from which the migrants flee, the migrants that both Trump and DeSantis repeatedly vilify using performative rhetoric, done so to inflame their base. I've seen the hardships, the desperation, and the horror these migrants face. With all the hype surrounding this new immigration law signed by DeSantis, I've not heard anyone address just what's causing the migrants to make the harrowing journey north, a journey fraught with danger to cross the border into the United States. No one is talking about the insatiable demand for illegal drugs here in the United States. And no one is talking about the failure of our justice system to hold high-level bank executives personally responsible when their institutions are found to have engaged in money laundering. And little is being said about the mind-blowing number of firearms smuggled south across the U.S. border, firearms found to be used in many of the horrific shootings and killings committed by the drug cartels. And then there's climate change and how it's affected Central America, rendering land once fertile to becoming relatively useless. Climate change, ladies and gentlemen, is not a Chinese hoax. Have you heard Trump or DeSantis addressing these factors? And we haven't heard Trump nor DeSantis addressing the push factors, the core reasons driving the migration. The most urgent of these push factors is corruption. Corruption in the home countries of the migrants.
Excuse me, Mr. Sibierski.
Yes.
Hello, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We've stopped the clock, so you're not going to lose any of the time. But our policy does ask during this time that people speak to items involving the general business of the district. So I've let you go on, but I think you need to tie your comments to the business of the school district and the school board. Thank you.
Okay. In a March 2024 interview with CBS News, Guatemalan President Bernardo Arevalo, a good, honest man, was quoted as saying, "We believe that corruption is the most urgent problem, but the most important problem is development. But if we do not fight corruption, we are not going to be able to get the development that we need so that people can flourish and stay." In dealing with this corruption, no one's talking about the United Nations-backed Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala, known as a CICIG, an investigative and prosecutorial body that was having unprecedented success in challenging—
Mr. Sibierski?
Yes.
I'm sorry. So again, your comments have to relate to the business of the district.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just close with this.
Thank you.
If you lived in Central America and your family faced hardships, I ask you, what would you do? And if and then ask yourself, who and what is most responsible for the mass migration? The answer to that question, we need only to look in the mirror. Thank you.
Good morning, school board. My name is Sophia Conley, and I am a junior at the Pinellas County Center for the Arts program at Jonathan C. Gibbs High School. I'd like to thank everybody else today who has talked about the topic of ICE and anything else that anybody has discussed today, but I'm here to talk about the change from block scheduling to 7 periods a day. I came from middle school where we not only had 7 periods a day, but 8. It was awful and atrocious, and I barely learned anything, and many of my fellow students can agree that it is not fair to students to have 47 minutes of learning when we have to study for AP tests and work on shows, as I am a part of the Pinellas County Center for the Arts program, work on projects that take 10 to 20 minutes to set up and then 10 to 20 minutes to break down. That is almost an entire class period with 5 minutes of learning. AP tests that expand for hours Our teachers are trying to help us and aid us and give us accurate timing to take DBAs, SAQs, so we are actually able and fully prepared for these AP tests and these scores that you guys are so proud of. I ask the board, are you proud of your attendance rates, test scores, and everything that these schools put out? These will drop immensely with the change of the schedule, especially since the start of the block schedule was started to help with graduation rates of these schools, mainly in the South Side. I'd like to point out Gibbs High School, Boca Ciega, and Lakewood, 3 of the 4 schools that are changing from block scheduling back to 7 periods a day are in South Side, where we have gone, our school personally has gone from an F-rated school to a B-rated school with the change of the block schedule. And I'm afraid that it will go straight back with the change back. We will no longer have that extra class for remediation, extracurriculars, all of these things that our students thrive from. I ask you, Madam Chair, your students, both of your children, are at schools with block scheduling. The last school of the 5 that are with block scheduling in our county high school-wise is St. Pete High. They are able to keep their block scheduling because of funding from their IB program. We are not. We don't have the funding to keep it. Your son, your youngest son, who is at Thurgood, is also a part of block scheduling, and I believe is also part of the arts. I ask you to ask yourself, all of you, if you had students that were in the arts, that were struggling with school, would they need that extra time? Would they like that extra time? Without that extra time, would they be where they are now? Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I am here coming as a still concerned student of Jonathan C. Gibbs High School in the PCCA Magnet program. I was once a student at Madeira Beach Fundamental Middle School, and we had 7 periods, and I learned, but it wasn't enough. I struggled in school a lot. I have an IEP, but I still wasn't getting any of the help that I really needed that block scheduling is providing with me. I believe that the school system is good by default, but people struggle and learn in different ways. And I think that taking away this program is making it harder for people to learn. I use that time very good. It helps me really get into what I'm learning and process it and get it, which I'm not getting the help from IEP staff or anything like that. So getting rid of that just pushes me forward into being scared of going into harder subjects like AP classes and feeling like I'm gonna get bogged down and drown in the work. So I implore you to rethink your decision in getting rid of the block scheduling and going to a 7-period schedule. Thank you very much.
The next 2 speakers are Kimberly Walker and Noah Schauer, followed by Asher Zakella and Catherine Shuey.
Hello. I'd like to thank you all for your service to our community and Madam Chair for your service to our country. I am a former Pinellas County Schools teacher, the parent of 2 graduates and 1 current student, and currently I serve as an educational advocate that serves to connect students with the services they are rightly entitled to. But most importantly, I am a diehard believer in public school. Today, I'd just like to share some of my experiences with a couple of your students. My daughter's best friend's father is here as a legal green card holder. Her boyfriend is a green card holder himself. I have these 2 children in my home regularly. Both are playful teens living out their best Viking and Green Devil lives. But I have seen a transformation in both since November. They're scared. The first became alarmed immediately after the election, hearing the current president's rhetoric on immigrants. I was able to assure her of her father's safety, as he's a legal green card holder. The second child, a green card holder himself, only became nervous after last week's news of the detainment of various legal visa holders. I wasn't able to give him the same assurances, but I was able to remind him that Pinellas County Schools is a safe place for him. My daughter, I overheard her sharing with her friends what to do if you're confronted by ICE. Again, I reminded her that Pinellas County Schools is a safe place, and she doesn't need to worry about those things. I'm really grateful that Pinellas County is a safe place, and I just want to end with how I began with all the families and students I advocate for. I remind them that teachers, staff, and administrators did not get into this business for the fame, the power, and definitely not for the money, and that they got into this for the kids and because they care. And I feel like there's been a great representation of that, and by your opening remarks, Madam Chair, I really appreciate that reminder. And I also remind them that we're a team and that our job is simply to remind the staff that we're going to be working with as we go into an IEP meeting that we're on the same team, that we're working together. And so I'm just here today to simply remind you of your why and ask you to remember it as we move forward. And just to remember the 2 students and my daughter as you move forward and attempt to be strong.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Board, and Mr. Hendrick. Before I start, I would like to say that I support your decision in not allowing ICE in our schools. Thank you. Today, I would like to talk about the shift from block scheduling to 7-period schedules. I know that you have stated that this is a budget issue, but this is a bigger issue among your students and staff. Classes won't be offered in the same capacity after you cut teachers, and the students won't learn in the same capacity as they are now. You want your schools to be filled, right? So why are you taking one of the big reasons we go to these schools away? Yes, you guys have threatened to shut down our schools if the change couldn't go through. But why? But that would not only deter students from going to public school, but it also gives a chance for a charter school to move into the now closed campus. Mr. Hendrick, according to the PCSB website, it states that you have a proven record of improving student achievement. I promise you that if you go through with this change, there will most certainly be a decrease in student achievement among these 4 schools. Most of us went to these schools because of the specialized scheduling they offer. We have time to get things done, including being able to fit in another AP or elective course that can aid us in getting into college. It's not a good feeling working for 3 years, making sure you have your credits done so you'll be able to take in an extra elective senior year, just for you to take that away from us. I and my other classmates are now being told to take a class online in order to get that elective back. On top of that, the current 8-period block schedule allows for lowerclassmen to explore more career paths and allow them to narrow down their potential career choices in the near future. With the move to 7 periods per day, you're limiting their future opportunities by taking away that extra class. Mrs. Edmond, you said that the district needs to do a better job of informing the people about these proposals. I agree with you. Why is it that most of the information pertaining to the change is hidden on the PCSB website? Why has there basically been radio silence on the topic besides the short, "We haven't gotten enough parent involvement"? As students, we're voicing our concerns. It would be great if you guys listened to them. We are currently not in school at a meeting that we really shouldn't have to be at to discuss a change that over 900 people signed stating they don't want to happen. That's how important this is to us. We're willing to sacrifice our grades and attendance to show this issue. Please reconsider getting rid of one of these main selling points of these 4 amazing schools. Thank you.
Good morning, Madame Hines and fellow school board members. I would also like to thank the board before I start about not letting ICE into our schools and keeping them culturally diverse and safe. I'm here to talk about the changes in the scheduling for Hollins, Gibbs, Bogosiega, and Lakewood High Schools. This change is not only just affecting students, but it's affecting teachers and staff very negatively. Students have been expressing their concern, like Mr. Shower said, via the petition that was actually started from a PCCA major. Students deserve the right to take their education into their own hands. And aside from students, the parents wanting their children to succeed and have a better chance to live a successful life in places other than the place where they grew up. I would like to say, like Sophia Conley and the other 2 students from PCCA, if you had a child, a niece, a nephew, or even just a friend with children, wouldn't you want them to have a better chance of getting into the college they want to go to, the career they want to start, or anything of the sort? I went to the Listen and Learn held at the Dolly Museum about the Arts, where you guys addressed a lot of the successes that have been happening around the county, but also discussed the budget. Mr. Hendricks was on record for saying that the board and the county gets $300 million a year for schooling activities. You also listed a budget of, well, outlined a budget for what block scheduling has been charging. Block scheduling only takes up $3.58 million worth of that budget, and that's only 10%. And with the added millions of dollars from the referendum, I feel like that you guys can expense at least some for block scheduling. Saying that you're for the magnet programs is a complete lie, in my opinion. Taking away from block scheduling is putting students and teachers under immense pain, and not only for the magnet teachers, but core teachers, AP teachers, and office staff. This is going to drive students away from the magnets and in a way from certain schools, leaving room for charter and private schools to move into those empty campuses. I'm here today to ask you to please reconsider or at least work with us for a compromise on the changes of block scheduling. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, board and community. My name is Catherine Shuey, and I'm here as a student, a former teacher, and a parent. There is a common theme I'm hearing that ICE needs to stay out of the schools to promote academic success and to promote the feeling of safety. I don't know if any of you have ever felt really unsafe. Probably after 9/11, probably some other times in your lives. I was a health educator at the time of 9/11. I was standing up in front of a class of community college students teaching nutrition. So I know what faces of fear look like. These students were 18, 20, some older, 28 years old, and they were terrified. And so I can't imagine the impact that an ICE agent or a teacher trained as an ICE agent coming into a school or at a school. I can't imagine the fear that would instill in the younger folks. So in addition to that, health is an issue. Learning, of course, comes first, and safety and an environment of comfort is needed for that learning, but stress is a major thing. The American Academy of Pediatrics has done research, and this type of thing would cause toxic stress in children. So we need to be aware of that as well. I do commend you, the district, for taking the strong stance you have taken to keep ICE out of schools. And there's going to be a lot more pressure on you, coming from the state, the feds, and everything in between. So keep up the good work and stay strong.
Madam Chair, there are no more speakers.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for being here today.